Okay, so when it comes to putting a product on your log home, there's some things to keep in mind. If you're a do-it-yourselfer or if you're hiring a contractor, there's certain things that you should be aware of and knowledgeable about when it comes to log products and the differences between water base and oil base. A lot of contractors will push water base. Maybe that's the product that they were originally introduced to for logs and it's worked for them, so they like it and they'll promote it and use it. A lot of times there's people that do maintenance and restore log homes that aren't really necessarily a log builder, or they may not understand logs as good as they should if they're going to be taking on a log home project, and they also might be using a water-based product. Ultimately, the superior product, right off the bat, I'm just going to tell you, the superior product is always going to be a high-end oil base, and I'm going to tell you why. For one, after, let's say you do a full restoration and you blast, and then you buff and prep the surface to receive the stain evenly and cleanly. Then you put your 3 coats on, and then you chink it or whatever, and it's all said and done. And you basically start your clock for a 5 to 7 year upkeep. Every 5 to 7 years on a log home, it needs to have a new fresh layer or 2 applied to the stain. If you don't do that, then you're basically gonna have to go backwards and start from scratch. Okay, so after 7 years of an oil-based product, you rinse. Sometimes 5 years if you're in heavy sun, and you know, the key is to look for it starting to turn kind of a gray hue. Okay, and then when you rub water on it, that gray hue goes away. It's not flaky yet. It's not damaged to the point where you can't bring it back. But as soon as you see, like your south-facing wall, as soon as you see that gray hue, all right, it's time to get a maintenance coat. Because if you let it go too long, then you got to strip the surface area again and start over. But if you keep up on your maintenance coat every 5 to 7 years, all you got to do is rinse and reapply more stain. That's why the oil base is superior in more than one way. You could apply it at lower temperatures. It doesn't flake off because it penetrates the surface of the logs, whereas a water base is a surface stain. As soon as it starts breaking down and losing its grip, it becomes flaky almost immediately, which allows water to get in behind the stain and create a moisture trap, which can increase discoloration, mold spots, and potentially water damage, rotten areas. Believe me, I've seen it all over the years. So oil base is superior, and also it's going to be better for the homeowner. When you're hiring a contractor, a lot of those contractors understand that if they're using a water base, then every 5 to 7 years they're going to have to re-strip it with a blast to reapply a new. So that's thousands of dollars every 5 to 7 years on the maintenance when you're using water base. So the contractor's making more money in that way. If you're using an oil base and you do it the rinse and recoat process for log homes, you're not ever having to blast again. You're not ever having to buff again. You're cutting your maintenance every 7 years way over by probably 60% less, 70% less, by just rinsing and applying 2 additional coats. That preserves the quality of the work, and you never have to go through all that headache of stripping it again. But water base, the second it loses its grip, you can't apply another layer over it. It'll just continue to strip there. So that's my professional advice. I've been doing log homes my whole life with my dad. I'm currently the owner of Mountain Country Log Restoration, which has been going for 12 years, and I live in the Northwest, and we've seen hundreds potentially of log homes. I wouldn't say we've done hundreds, we've seen them, but we've done at least over 100 up here in the Northwest over the last 12 years, here and there. And over those years, I have never applied a water-based product unless I was forced to because of a small repair area to match what was already existing, and then I would inform them and give them more knowledge about why the stain they're using is probably not the best choice, and that's probably why I'm here doing rot repair, because you're using a water base. Less often do you find a rotten spot on an oil base home, unless it's just been neglected for 10-15 years. So anyway, hope you take that and apply it to your projects. And the best oil base stain out there in my eyes is by Sashco, called Transformation Log and Timber. It comes in a variety of tints, from gold to brown to red, and then the natural is kind of like a gold tone light, but it's slightly darker. But with log home stain, if you're curious about how dark to go, start out light, because you can always go darker over time. If you start out too dark, well, then you really can't go back the other way without blasting again. So if you're going to err on not knowing how your home's going to turn out in color, err on the light side, and then you apply darker as you go over the years if you want it to be a little darker. All right, thanks.